President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill is now the law of the land, and for some Americans, that means more money in their pockets. Well, one of the signature pieces of the bill followed through on a promise that the president repeatedly made while he was out on the campaign trail, and that is eliminating taxes on tips and also overtime pay for workers. But what kind of boost will that actually provide? NewsNation's Alicia Nieves is in New York with some insight there. Because, Alicia, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, okay, hey, when can I reap the benefits of this, right? When do people start noticing these changes?
Yeah, good morning, Markie. The implementation and the boost, as you put it, pretty immediate. That's because the no tax on tip provision, the no tax on overtime, that goes into effect for this year, 2025. So this is an immediate impact, but it's not just the immediate impact that's significant, just how far-reaching these provisions are. It is pretty significant. In terms of tipped workers, you're talking about 4 million potentially tipped workers could benefit from this provision on what has been, of course, dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill for President Trump's legislation here, but also upwards of 97.7 million overtime eligible workers. How does this actually go into effect? How is this implemented, or how do you take advantage of it? For tax on tips, gotta note, you don't just get to pocket those tips today. You still have to report all of your tips to tips, and at the end of the year, beginning of next year, you likely get a refund on taxes paid on that income. Tip workers able to deduct up to $25,000 of their tip income. And then similarly, for no tax on overtime for this provision, up to $12,500 can be deducted throughout the year. Your employer still has to withhold those taxes on that income, and then when you use that deduction at the end of the year or beginning of next year, you potentially get a refund. Now, according to the White House Council of Economic Advisors, workers are expected to save around $1,700 per year under this provision. That's a boost of $1,700 potentially to your refund. And since this is geared towards middle class and lower income workers, the deductions start to phase out at about $150,000 for an individual and $300,000 for a joint return for married couples. But important to note, Markie, this is no tax on tips and no tax on overtime for federal taxes. If you live in a state that has state income taxes, only about 7 states don't, you still have to pay taxes, state taxes at least, on that tip income and on that overtime income. And then I also have to note, this is not a long-term solution for these workers. This provision of the One Big Beautiful Bill only lasts for 3 years up until 2028, actually expires just a few weeks before President Trump is expected to leave office.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.